Okay guys, just a simple thought experiment on the topic of masks. So a lot of experts agree wearing a mask would, slow the spread of an infection. And then there are a lot of experts that also agree wearing a mask may actually make you more susceptible to an infection and harm you in other ways. Now, I'm not saying I have a stance on this, but what I am saying is that there are such strong opposing views on something as simple as wearing a mask. And you can find whatever narrative to fit whatever stance you either want or are looking for, okay? This same situation applies to every other component of this pandemic. And so, a lot of us have been conditioned to kind of hand over authority and power to some governing body or some institution or some mainstream news media channel or even a publication series or anything of that nature, because they somehow have authority over the truth over you. Okay? I'm not here to tell you what the truth is. I'm here to tell you that your truth is the truth. You have the power to channel with your own soul, with spirit, with the source, with the universe. And once you unlayer the programs that we're under, you have access to the truth. More than any news media channel will tell you, more than anything you find on Google. That's information, but it's not truth. Truth is inside of all of us. It always has been. We've just not been shown or cultivating that fact in our life. Once we hand over our power over the truth to something external, you lose. And the thing is, we've been doing that since we were born. And how do you take that power back? One thing that I've done is to start exploring everything that was absolutely opposite of what I thought was the ultimate truth. I mean, this began early on in my life when I was breaking free from, the cult type of institutionalization of religion in my life. And I was blown away. I was like, wow, I was so fucking wrong in my belief system. Where else could I possibly be wrong in the spectrum of what I believe is true versus what could be possible? And then this deprogramming steps started happening. And you will be deprogramming for the rest of your life, because from the day you were born, you've been being programmed. Another example of the same type of programming are handing over the idea of what the truth is to other officials or experts or governing bodies or whatever the case, that are associated with this idea of credibility and standard that was created by other people, not you. You just subscribe to it, right? But the idea of what is the standard and how they obtain that standard and what those individual journeys were to come together as a collective to then be dissipating information to the world, like the World Health Organization, which has been so fucking wrong, but we have subscribed to them as the source of truth, right? And how wrong has that? So you might be going to defense mechanisms like, well, they were wrong because such and such. So you're still defending some external source of truth over your own. And the way to find your own is to start dissecting apart what those are and why. And the best way to do that is to look at extreme opposing views. We can talk about how awful Trump is or how awful Hillary is or how awful any of these people are. But there are millions of people that subscribe to a certain viewpoint and they have the information and narrative for their purpose. You can understand that we are made as sentient beings with creative capabilities and imaginations. We're meant to respect that attribute as humans of one another. But instead we've weaponized it for political purposes or agendas because we are triggered. And when you find truth, your own internal truth, it comes from a place where you are no longer triggered. Ask any healer this, ask any psychiatrist, trauma therapist, any of these people, it's the same. Once you realize where the trigger is coming from, you heal. So if we're still pushing an agenda or an opposing view or we're feeling triggered by it, it's because there's some unhealed part of the story within ourselves that we're not dissecting because we're still externalizing the trigger. Like, oh, life sucks because of this person or this situation, or I'm angry because I'm fighting for America, or I'm fighting for the world, or whatever it is that's just driving you. This is the time to look inward and reflect and awaken to this new layer of self-awareness. And my suggestion is just, again, look at the opposing views. Just like the example of the masks that I gave you and the opposing views on something that simple, there's a lot to discover within ourselves, our power and our truths. Thank you.